This is going to be an emotional episode, guys. I guess you could say we've come to the end of the road. Some of us can't let go. That's all right. That's Warriors Anonymous. Let's go.
This is Warriors Anonymous.
Indeed. First of all, the season is pretty much largely gone. Jared Cronin, Isaac Sauce, Moni de Sauce, and Daniel Wharekura here to dissect what's going on. But obviously, the big one is the Shaun Johnson retirement. Now, we're starting with you, Buddha, because let me just do a quick recap for those who don't know. Here was the flow of events. You went to watch the Super Netball game, and you saw Shaun Johnson, and you called out to him.
Well, first of all, it was ANZ Premiership Grand Final, and I was playing hit-ups with my boy, and as I looked up, and one Shaun Johnson came around the corner, so I didn't have time to kind of be, cool, calm, and collected. I didn't have distance to kind of, and the inner fangirl came out. I looked up, and even my son was like, "Dad, it's Shawnee," and I was like, "Hey, Shawnee, you the man, bro." Touched his shoulder, and then said, "Up the pulse," and he gave me the
Wow,
and walked on through, and I was like, "Smooth."
Smooth. And then within 24 hours, he was retiring.
Yeah.
Oh,
Did I see retirement in his eyes? Maybe retiring from the creep that was following him around. Maybe because then I was in the line to get the fries. I was playing it more cool, like there's Shaun Johnson, but I know
to the next cubicle in the toilet.
Yeah, that's Shaun. But I know that you know that. I know that you know that I'm here.
Were you like hiding behind the program or something, and then being like, "Oh."
He was a few rows down as well in the Mystic Zone, so I was like, "He's down."
Oh man, oh boy. Yeah, I guess it does impact a lot. He's playing this week, but Isaac, what do you make of of Shaun's, I guess, decision to say farewell at the end of the year?
Oh, I guess this is his farewell tour for these last 4 games, but maybe he'll be like the Rolling Stones and have a farewell tour every 2 or 3 years or something like that. Just keep coming back. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. He decides to go another round, but it's pretty much done and dusted. I mean, everything, the writing was on the wall with the whole podcast of his, what was it, Play On or whatever. He's setting himself up for the next phase of his life, but yeah, still in shock. I'm quietly gutted that he's decided to call it a day.
Moneta, I don't know about you, but when I saw him run out on Friday night, the camera panned to Shaun, he was looking around the crowd and smiling and that. And, having thought about the podcast that he's doing and stuff and the timing of it and just how he was looking around and, kind of the look in his face, I was like, ooh. What were you thinking during the before the match and during?
I actually wasn't as observant as you, but yeah, like you alluded to, like what Isaac alluded to, he's taken a number of steps towards like life after footy, from the sounds of it, and like the number of injuries that he's been getting and so forth, and he's always talked about his love for his daughters and stuff like that, and wanted to be there for them, and so I probably wasn't as surprised about his retirement, but probably surprised at the timing. But he's been a legend, and if he didn't get these injuries, and you can see what he can do when he isn't injured. So
yeah, it's a hard one with a player of that sort of magnitude stepping back. Definitely affects a lot of people in a lot of different ways. There's been a lot of
I mean,
a
like,
lot
you know,
of chat
represents
around.
Southeast Asia. You know, the only, you know, he's half Laos. You know, half, you know, Pakeha. So yeah, always going to root for another Southeast Asian brother. But yeah,
That's a.
wish I was there to touch him, though. But that's another story.
It was the touch that changed everything. Oh man! All right.
I think with the Shawnee thing, just wanted to add the fact that he mentioned this period of the season being hard, the injury layoff as well, and the fact that he mentioned on his podcast that not able to walk down the stairs properly as well. And you got to come to a point. I think you put into account that we're not going with that well, and I think I'd hate to say it, guys, not I wouldn't say a dreaded rebuild, but there is a build phase now, and we probably all knew that with the age of our squad too. So if you think pulling yourself off the canvas, going another season, and maybe where you just can't hit the heights that you used to, as much as we would want him to go around again, he's probably got to think about what's best for him as well, and what's best for the club in 2 to 3 years' time as well, if he's occupying that space. But I still think he's our best playmaker. And how do we pull ourselves off the canvas? I don't know. Like it's just one of these things where you look at all the stats in the game, and we dominated in a lot of areas, the traditional stats. But I just got me thinking in the last 10 minutes when we did, is like I just feel like we're not playing any footy. It's just too laboured and too structured, and the game's gone. Like that was last year. We know that. We just made, we ground teams down. They made mistakes. Now, you can kind of do that. Like you were trying to pin them, and then they just get away. And they were just playing footy, and and it just comes down to one-on-one tackle misses and playing a bit of football. And we also I don't think we could have scored in the first 70 minutes. We couldn't score tries. We had to be within like the 20-metre line, to set up some shape plays where, the Eels were just, the Gutho was just running it. Dylan Brown was just getting it out wide, and it wasn't until that, maybe they dropped off because they were up by so much, but we actually threw the ball around. We chanced it a little bit. And I know that's, old Warriors, right? We just never know what turned up, and we threw the ball around, but I don't know, there's just something in the fact that when we just played some footy, we chanced it a little bit more. We were just a bit more damaging. So, I don't know. Is it throw a bit more caution to the wind, see what happens? But our current game plan is just not achieving the result.
You're reminding me of your frequent mentions of the phrase "ground and pound," and it's like we've got the ground part, we ain't pounding. So
I just don't think you can pound that much now. Like you keep pounding and pounding and pounding and pounding. No. I don't even think like the Panthers are doing that as effective, right? Like I just don't know. I think I've just been thinking about it a lot. Maybe I look at the Titans, right? They just physically but they're physically man to man. They've got some
freaks,
some pretty elite, physical specimens out there as well. And there's just a little
good looking.
And I think it's hard to contain teams. I think is probably the thing where we were able to contain teams last year in that sort of footy. Like the Dragons of the world, they used to just beat themselves up. Now they don't. So the level's good, but we've been calling for the pounding, all year, and the grounding just hasn't happened.
Isaac, what's your thoughts, bro? A lot of people are talking about the scheme that we're playing within. Is it the scheme that's not helping us, or is it the execution of it?
It's really both. I think Dan's right. That game plan is so last year. It really is. It's so last year, but it is. I mean, at the start of the season, they tried to apply the same game plan, and there were cracks showing already. I thought there was no evolution of the game plan from last year. I mean, I guess probably the biggest difference between how they executed it last year is the time was perfect on their attacking execution. With DWZ scoring all those tries out on his side of the field, that was just purely down to execution and skill and timing. That was wavering at the start of this year, and I feel like the ground and pound game didn't sort of gravitate towards us being able to being able to execute that sort of game plan that we had last year in terms of attack. But there was times in the season when it was clearly obvious to me that they just needed to switch things up or maybe just try something different, but they wouldn't. And they just stuck to their guns. And I think we're kind of seeing the result of that this year. I mean, it's like the Broncos. They've kind of been found out. Their game plan, I mean, they've had injuries and whatnot, but their game plan's been found out this year too. So maybe Dan's right. Teams are evolving and they're playing the game different. And Gold Coast are probably a good example of that, the way that they play. And unfortunately, the Warriors haven't taken a cue from that. And hopefully next year, they might go back to the drawing board and try and take the best out of the game plans that they've had in the past couple of years and maybe, evolve it, grow it, maybe take different parts from other teams and see how it fits in with theirs. But something needs to change. And hopefully this week, they throw caution to the wind and they just play some footy.
I guess the big question is, fellas, we'll start with you, Moneta, on this one. This is a hard or nah, and we're not going to sit on the fence on this.
Yeah.
We're going to be one way or the other. Is Shaun Johnson the greatest ever Warrior?
No, I can't put. No, I can't out and out say no. He'd be in my top two, but he's not my. Yeah, no.
Okay,
No.
Fair. Isaac, your thoughts? I don't know, bro.
Hard if he's my favorite player of all time for the Warriors. Yes, 100% certainty. In terms of the best player the Warriors have ever had, no, that's Simon Mannering in my books. Just in terms of consistency, longevity, the standard of play. Unfortunately, SJ's not. He's in that echelon, but he's not at Simon Mannering's level.
Right, Daniel, hard or nah, bro?
I pretty much follow what Saucy said there. I mean, he's my favourite player, my favourite Warrior as well. Just for the sheer highlight reel, just the things he could do as well when he was on, unplayable. Mannering is up there as tough and consistent, just a true Warrior. And I always just say that Ale Lauatiti was the best player in the game, at the time when he was gracing the field, right? And I think you can probably say, Shaun has been great, but maybe there's been others who just edged him in that role. So, I'm definitely hard. I love him, but Ali for me is the greatest Warrior because he was the greatest in his position at any time and changed the game of the back row.
See, I'm going to go. Ali's my favourite. Ali's my all-time favourite.
Articulate it really well.
I'm going to say Ali's my favourite. Favourite player, favourite Warriors player ever. But I'm going to put Shaun as the greatest Warrior player. And I'm going to say that because I think he's better than Stacey and I think he's better than Simon. Purely on the fact that he won us more games. He won us 100% heaps more games than they did. And I know he wasn't as consistent perhaps as Simon Mannering. Injuries kind of, sort of started to derail things past maybe about 2016, I think, when he broke his ankle. But that's I'm going hard. I'm going SJ all the way. That's not being romantic or anything. I think he's been our best. But he's not the only guy on the farewell tour. Oh boy, we found out end of last week. Obviously, another one of the WA's favourites, Jazz Tevanga, is going to be finishing up at the end of the year as well with the Warriors. That is, it's a cruel world. Moneta, bro, what are your thoughts on Jazz's departure?
I'm actually quite gutted about this one because I think he brings more than just his presence on the field. He brings a bit of culture and a bit of humour to the sheds, and he's just a character, on and off the field. But yeah, when he's on the field, he just brings that mongrel. And back in his younger days, yeah, he had to kind of control that a bit more. But he's learned how to control that a bit now. And yeah, I just think, damn it, we've lost him, because I really think. I think it'll be another case of where he goes to another club and just performs outstandingly, So I'm a bit worried about that. So yeah.
Isaac, there's been a lot of people who mentioned about maybe the downside of how Jazz approaches the game, or how he plays the game, and that is he sometimes is subject to errors, and also giving away the odd penalty here and there. And you can say the same for Jackson Ford as well. But yeah, what are your thoughts on the naysayers and maybe the Warriors making a business decision, shall we say?
I feel like every modern NRL team needs a player like Jazz Tavanga, a player that plays, right at that line, and sometimes he's going to go over it, but you take the good with the bad. I mean, in his heyday, he was the number one bench player. He just everything he added off the bench, he made such an impact, and he's tried to carry that on as the years have gone by. Maybe he's not as impactful as he once was, but he still brings something that other players don't. And I really feel like we're missing that sort of next cab off the rank to provide that energy, that line speed, that bit of mongrel. I don't see anyone in this Warriors squad that we've currently got that could step into his shoes or is going to take on that mantle of the enforcer almost. So I reckon he's a real loss to the club. He's a Warrior through and through. You can see it on his face every week how much it means to play and put that Warriors jumper on. I mean, even through the dark days, he's pretty honest and candid about how the team was going. He's never one to front responsibility as a Warriors player. So I think we're really losing a lot with Jazz leaving the club. That one hurts as well.
Mm. Yeah, I find it sad on two levels. Obviously, a lot of the stuff you just mentioned there about what he brings and what he still brings. I think he still brings a lot to the table. I also feel like he probably gets victimized a little bit by the referees sometimes just because of who he is. I'm also sad on the level that we only kind of had the briefest of moments of seeing what the combined powers of the Ball brothers could do coming off the bench. We only kind of got a little glimpse of it, and everyone was like, whoa. But since then, injuries and whatnot have sort of taken hold. But Daniel, bro, you're possibly the biggest Jazz fan on the podcast, I would suggest.
The junkyard dog.
That's right. How are you feeling about about this turn of events?
Oh, it's been a bit rough week, When you think SJ, favourite player, and then Jazz, Mr. Mana, the guy that as Isaac said, never shirks his responsibility, was very honest, especially through the tough times, as Moneta said, like the COVID days where, we were getting beat, but he was, fronting and putting his heart on the sleeve and that sort of thing. It's a cruel world, salary cap, NRL professional rugby league, right? And it's a business decision clearly as well. I guess a couple of things that counted against him is some challenging injuries that he's faced the last 2 seasons as well. So that consistency of being on the field, they got to factor that in. And it's just a real shame for the Sheds, for the club, to have a guy like that not be able to finish out his career. So it's big gap for a little guy. Because in the modern game, that leg speed's good, and he plays a role as well. He's in the 17 when he's fit. So, I'm gutted, but look, I understand. Like, that's the problem. The challenge with this game now is that the dollars and cents don't work. There's always there's young guys coming through, and you've got to manage a squad of 30. So, just wish him all the best, and hopefully he can pick up something decent as well. And that's the key thing, whether it's here or in the UK.
Yeah, for sure. Just quickly, as the Warriors salary cap auditor, how much money have we got in the bank now? Like, We're gonna have no
I think we've got a
Shaun, no
stack
Jazz,
of
no
cash.
Adam. Like,
No, I know.
gonna
And
buy
I think,
Payne House or something.
correct me if I'm wrong, but I think like Dallon's deals start to drop down a little bit as well, and there's a few things like that. So, yeah, I mean, we should, in theory, have a little bit of cash to go around. So, yeah, they're going to definitely need to bring some seniorish, some a little bit more talent in as well. But, there's some good options coming through too. I would love to see more time with Lecker getting some game time and some ball as well. Dimitrik's come back, right? He's fit again. Like to see him come back into the fold somewhere as well. Situ too, right? Like, I mean, we thought he was going to debut a couple of weeks ago, so love to see those guys get a go. So yeah, and I think we just got to be smart, because we've been here before, Warriors fans. Remember, far out, was it COVID years? We spent some money and didn't get a lot for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now,
I guess that raises the question of how we do approach the rest of the season. We've got 4 more games to go, I think. Moneta, what are you thinking in terms of, do we go just hell for leather trying to get the wins, or does it start to take on a bit more of a complexion of developing things for, to move on to next season?
I think elements of both. Obviously with Shaun Johnson having 4 more games, they definitely want to try and win those last games for SJ. At the same time, I reckon they should try to test out, some of the young bucks that Daniel just mentioned. So just seeing how they, can test up in first grade and so forth. So yeah, but when you were talking about, sorry, just go back, but Jazz, it reminded me when Curran left. Like there was, I got that same feeling when Curran left. Like Isaac talks about aggression and speed and hitting the line. Curran was a good person for that, and I feel like Jazz was another person for that, and so yeah, no, I can't think of any player with that kind of similar attitude at the moment or characteristics. So I feel like it's the same with Curran, and now Curran's flourishing at the Bulldogs, and yeah, I'm sure Jazz will too. But I guess now they've just got to learn how to use the lethal weapon as Lika. So hopefully they can find a way how to use them better, and other young bucks. Yeah.
Wouldn't it be actually just thinking about how well Curran's done and how well the Bulldogs has done? It'd be actually quite cool to see Jazz as a Bulldog. He kind of would suit
the colours would suit him, eh?
Yeah,
It would suit him the way they play. And Goldie loves that type of player.
That's right. We'll stay tuned to see where he ends
Josh
up.
Curran hurt, eh? That one hurt. Losing him. Yeah. Him and Bailey Cernan, losing them from last year. I really feel like we could have bloody used them this year. We really could have used them all effort, jack of all trades type players. With the injuries that we've had, Josh Curran and Bailey Cernan would have been great players to have on the park.
Yeah,
for a season like
you were a big
this.
fan of Bailey Cernan. I slowly
played
turned
everyone.
around. I was like, and when he left, and I was like, oh, yeah, no, we'll be all right. Part of me's like, oh, okay.
Just to fix it,
Might have
man.
made a
Just to fix it.
difference. So, yeah.
I found
throw
my
Carl Lawton in the mix too.
Oh yeah,
Well, that's ages ago.
Still a fan favourite here. Oh, Lord.
I think I've found myself at some point through every game this season, if Jackson Ford makes a mistake, I just kind of fold my arms and be like, yeah, we got rid of Josh
I don't
and
know what
we kept
happened
you.
from last year, but these guys from Jackson Ford, it's become part of his game. It was never there last year, but
That's actually
maybe
a thing in general as well, I think, for the team. And I just noticed is that we just don't, the amount of errors is execution under pressure. That's a big thing, in high performance sport, man. I know mistakes happen, right? But fuck, we did so many things just to first tackle,
Make it hard for
at
ourselves.
the line, and you just drop the ball.
Yeah.
We'll drop it cold.
I feel like the Warriors have forgotten what it's like to win, even though last year was not that long ago. They've just been shook up all season that they've forgotten how to win. It sort of takes the fun out of it and puts the fear in there, and people are too afraid to make a mistake, and they make a mistake eventually anyway. I feel like the mental part of the game has sort of disappeared from the Warriors this year, where last year when you're winning, it's easy. You don't have to think about the mental side of things because you're bloody winning, you know. But then again, they were winning in pretty tough positions too last year. But this year, they've not looked back at the tape and looked back on themselves and reminded themselves how they can win those tough games. I mean, the miracle at the Shire, the Cronulla game last year, they should have just thought back to those times when times were tough, we can win this. It felt like that mental edge this year is just kind of scrubbed away, eh?
Yeah, the resilience, that they had built up.
Yeah, resilience. Webby talks about that all the time, right?
It's transferred, and that's what the Bulldogs are showing, right? Like, they are just hard to beat. And then I don't know, maybe it sounds weird. Maybe got bored of just being good. That sounds weird, but it's new and exciting for the Bulldogs because they were poor last year, right? So that's why you look at teams like obviously the Panthers, and you just look at the Storm, right? They just apart from didn't win the weekend, but they just always seem to find a way to win 80% of their games every season.
It's Serraldo 1, Webb 1 at the moment. Next year is going to be their tiebreaker, right? Because last year we were all saying, "Oh, Webby's the better Penrith coach. We got the better pick out of the two." Now Serraldo's come back with the Bulldogs this year, going all guns blazing.
What if Serraldo wins a GF? This is a long way away, but
Yeah.
you never know.
Well, the numbers say it, don't they? Because from the last 50, 60 years, I think it was by 10-year allotments, they would go, 94, they lost a grand final. 2004, they won a grand final. 2014, they lost a grand final. So now we're at 2024. Plus, there was a couple more back before that, going to the 70s and 80s and that. So I saw that and I was like, surely that's not going to happen. But hey, maybe it could. I don't know.
History repeating.
That's right. And as we start to get into kind of dangerous territory of Buddha's favourite pastime of picking a favourite or second favourite team as we head into the playoffs, you start to wonder, who am I going to back here? Just to, have a bit of excitement in my life. But yeah, how disappointing, Moneta. Mentally, we were speaking about the mental thing. If we can't get up for a game at home, sold out game at home against the second to last team, with our season on the line, and come out and just lay eggs like that, bro. How did that happen?
I don't know, to be honest. That's why it surprised me. I was like, oh, they gotta beat the Eels, And then, oh, what the fuck just happened? And again, it's just our killer instinct is gone, our resilience, and we're just doing dumb shit. If we're being honest. And I know Webby keeps on mentioning that, we're looking to fix those basic errors, but they just, again, it's those basic errors that cost us all the time. And, I don't know. That's the thing. I wish I had the answer, but I just don't know. But it could be the way that we're playing. Are they getting bored of the structures that Webby's putting in? Does that fit the players that we have? I guess the structures, because the structures maybe last year worked for the players that we did have, like Bailey, and Curran, and so forth. But we've got a few new players, so maybe it's, I don't know. I don't know. There's speculation, but I don't know, mate. I wish I knew. Yeah.
I think the most disappointing thing for me in this season has been, last year, people were saying, man, this Warriors team is different. As Julius is telling you in the background there. It was a different team. It was a different Warriors. We weren't the same Warriors anymore. And possibly the most disappointing thing for me this year is that I feel like we are the same Warriors again. We're back to...
We're not the worst Warriors, but we play a little bit of structured football and still lose.
There's just so much expectation, a Warriors team is underperforming against expectation. And last year we had no expectations. and they blew us away. I was like, what is this? And then you come into the season, all guns blazing, social media is just running hot. The Warriors are the hottest ticket in town. And then we come up with a, damp squid like that of a season. It's just pretty shitty feeling.
I keep getting reminded of your words from a few episodes ago as well, Isaac, where you wondered if we had read into our own hype. Did we expect things to just kind of happen for us?
I feel like, yeah. I mean, even now, even with the way the team's performing and the underwhelming performances week in, week out, the social media sort of paints a veneer. There's all fun and games and everything's going great. And I kind of hate that. I don't like seeing that. Like, not saying that the Warriors players shouldn't have a good time and be enjoying themselves, but it's kind of like I don't know why. I take it as a little bit of a kick in the teeth. Like, you guys aren't performing on the field, and then there's all the social media stuff, and it's probably not their fault. The club's pushing them in that direction or giving the directive of let's really push this club, blah, blah, blah. But I don't really like to see it. It wasn't like this last year. The wins and the performances on the field did the talking, and the social media sort of came after. Now when I look at things and how they've panned out this year, it feels like social media is just the thing. The Wise Insta page and social media and da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, I'm sick of it. Just start winning. I don't care what you're doing on social media and all the cool slow-mo videos and highlight reels and whatnot. Just fucking win. I mean, but that's just me. I'm like, I'm tired of it. I just want to see winning.
Yep. I mean, it's a really interesting question. The performance side and the commercial side, a lot of it goes hand in hand. But when you do have a bit of a problem, say, Daniel, like we've got this massive commercial success rolling along, but if we're not getting the performance side right, that's going to start to erode, at the commercial side as well. So how do we balance things a bit better, maybe?
Oh yeah, I think everyone wants a window into it. So and it's sport, it's high performance sport, so you can't always win. And that's one of the things. You sign up. You get to the playoffs and you lose. Someone's got to lose. How many teams are there? 17 as well. Someone's got to lose. So that's hard to balance. I think it's trying to probably portray a little bit more of like the narrative of what they're working on, what they're working towards would be, what us fans would want to see as well, rather than maybe just the kind of generic stuff. But I guess adjacent to that point and is the potentially, and I think it's the criticism that Webby's getting is that maybe he's good to put an arm around a player, and I think that's probably what was definitely needed last year to really bring players in. Maybe we haven't seen the harder side as well, and they talk about the Wayne Bennett factor. Here, in one hand, he can give you a cuddle, on the other hand, he can tell you what's what, right? And maybe it's the good cop, bad cop side and the bad cop side needs a little bit of showing because, not that we've gone to the days of yelling and screaming at players and all that kind of stuff, but I think for some of the performances that we've seen, you need to look after players, but also standards, right? Like things are slipping. You need to make sure that players feel it. And Eden was subject to that as well early in the season, so it was nice to see that. But I don't know. Human nature is someone's really kind to you. Sometimes you try to take advantage of it. So maybe that's something with it that they're struggling with as well. So it's big learning for Webby, right? Because he's only this is his second full year as a head coach, and he said the highs and now he's experiencing the lows.
Exactly. Tell him that it's human nature, is what you just said. Why? Monitor.
I want to win all the time.
Monitor. It is a hard environment to be a professional sports coach. But as fans, how patient do we need to be with Webby? How strong is the trust factor? And how long can we hang in there before people start to turn?
Sorry, I just thought of Jared. We never get Jared. They don't get as hard as refs, though, mate. Not never as hard as refs. But
the refs. Spoons.
But sorry, Jared. It was just a bit of a joke. But
Referee's boss, Jared Wood. Shout out. We need to ask him about the Casey Badger latest situation as well.
That's a doozy.
But it's a tough environment, right? Coaches, they do come and go, and but we have committed to Webster for like how long? 5 years. And I think he's shown what he can do last year, and I don't think we kick him out after this year. I think we persist because we know what he can do to turn things around, and I think this is a good lesson for him. I think coming in first season, doing great in terms of coaching, and having the next season being a bad one isn't necessarily a bad thing for the learning curve. You kind of learn through your failures and so forth. So, he's experienced the highs. Now he's kind of experienced the lows. So hopefully next year he can put it all together and really think of how he can really put this team together in terms of what we could start to do going forward. But positives are we've got now I can't say the words. I feel like I'm getting slow at English or so. But we've got a good academy of young people in the background and stuff like that. So it's I think he's done well to bring up the youth in terms of shit. I can't. I think I'll pass it on. I can't even say my words anymore.
I think we have to remember as well. Like it took Ivan Cleary. Ivan Cleary you'd class him as a super coach now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But his first few seasons coaching at the head coach level were pretty abysmal.
We got fired.
Yeah, exactly. For one thing, and when he kicked off with Penrith, they were onto something, but it was a slow burn to get to where they are now. But the thing he made sure of he made sure that the club was bringing in the talent. No, those guys are top tier players. Your To'os and your Crichtons and your Kickows and everything else. They've gone to other places and still been successful, which is probably a sign of the quality of coaching while they were at Penrith as well. So I think Webby needs a long-term plan with the Warriors to really, put his stamp on the club, and this is how it needs to look. Not now, not just for next year, for the next, decade moving forward. We need to build that culture, and it doesn't take 1 year of just winning. It's going to take years of winning, losing, experiencing the highs and the lows to know exactly what you want to achieve. So Webby needs time to do that. So he's definitely the man for the job.
I think some fans have just got to calm down, say that, fuck, get a new coach. Just calm your horses and, he's done it for us, so let's just give him another chance. So, yeah.
Yeah, because the club is still in a transition phase, to be fair. Like, we had to bring in a lot of experience to try and, get us back to, performing well. Which has worked, to a certain degree. Last year more so than this year, but the idea is to get our pathways going, and then in a few years' time to actually be, rolling with our youngsters like Penrith have been doing. So I think you're right. I think the long term thinking is definitely got to be just front of mind for a lot of people, because it seems to be how the Warriors are approaching it. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah, it's a good thing. I mean, they're building the machine to create the production line for the next generation of star players for the Warriors club. But that takes time. Yeah. You're not going to send an 18-year-old kid into first grade and he's going to be an absolute superstar from the get-go. It's going to take him time to learn the game, but at least we've got these 18-year-olds in the club, these youngsters coming through the age grades where they've got the potential. We know that we can keep them at the club to help strengthen the club in the years to come. But that takes time.
Yeah, you did right. Like mainland cheese. Daniel, bro, who are you thinking? Who is the new number 7 for 2025?
I'm thinking Luke Metcalf. I think they have recruited him with the view that he would be the successor for now. Jet Cleary obviously is in the system as well, but he's going to take time. He's going to need time. Yeah, part of me thinks Luka Mikiafu, maybe. I mean, you got Tamaiti, so might start with Tamaiti as well. And I think like there's benefit in having, as being the elder statesman, around in and around. So, but yeah, I'd love to see Luka get the keys.
Nice, bro. Anything else to add, boys, before we jump on out of here on this particularly glum episode of Warriors Anonymous?
Don't go, SJ. Just stay.
Stay with me tonight.
Stay with me.
Is that what you sang when you walked away?
SJ.
Yeah, SJ was singing, I'm walking away.
I just want to
just
want to sort of highlight that if it wasn't for myself and former Warriors Anonymous fan, he's still a fan, but it's not on here anymore.
We lost one.
Jeff Wright.
Oh.
If we didn't put the petition to get him home, we wouldn't have got him home. And I just want to thank SJ for being an integral part of last season's ride, because regardless of where we finish up, I mean, I'm still fucking loved last year. It was a hell of a ride, and being at that game against Newcastle to get into the prelim against the Broncos, that was just magical. So it might not have won the GF, but I think I think all Warriors fans should just reflect on. It was a team effort, but Shawnee really drove us last year to put us in that position, and it was fucking amazing.
Absolutely.
He was robbed of the Dalian.
As amazing as his bloody highlight reel is, because that stacks up against anyone else's in rugby league. Oh man, even just the try saves he had, like far out. The guy just chased down and saved some ridiculous tries. But
mowing down Michael Jennings in his prime.
Yeah, that's right.
Even climbing on GI.
Far out. Yeah, thank you, Shaun. Thank you for everything, and sorry about Daniel touching you and maybe making you feel a bit weird.
Surely.
Oh, well, for another week. This has been Warriors Anonymous. Thanks very much for joining us. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, we'll keep just trucking away until the end of the season, and at the end of it, we'll go eat some bloody ice cream or something. I don't know. Maybe we'll do that now. I don't know. It's all good. Jared Cronin, on behalf of Isaac Sauce, Moneta Sauce, Daniel Whanakura. We'll catch you next time. Up the wires. Good Warriors. And thank you, Shaun. Bro. Thank you.
Thank you. We love you.
Love you.
La cucaracha ya no puede caminar.